You're running. Consistently. You show up, you put in the miles, you don't skip days. And yet somehow, you feel like you're running in place. Your pace isn't dropping. Your stamina isn't growing. Race day comes, and the result is almost identical to 6 months ago. And the most frustrating part? You can't figure out why. You're doing everything right. Or at least you think you are. Here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. Most runners are making one specific mistake that quietly destroys their progress, and it's not the mistake you'd expect. It's not skipping leg day. It's not bad shoes. It's not even poor nutrition, though that stuff matters. The number one mistake killing your running progress is something you're probably doing on every single run right now without realizing it. And the wild part is, most people think it's actually the right thing to do. If that has your attention, you're in the right place. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at your training schedule completely differently. And if you're new here and this is your first time landing on the channel, welcome. Hit subscribe, because we make videos like this every week, and you're going to want to be here for all of it. What I'm about to break down has genuinely changed the way thousands of runners train once they finally understand it. This isn't a new concept in elite running circles. Coaches at the highest level have known this for decades. But somehow, it never fully trickled down to everyday runners, the people who are just trying to get faster, go farther, or finally cross that finish line feeling strong instead of completely falling apart at mile 10. The mistake is sneaky. It doesn't feel like a mistake while you're doing it. In fact, it feels productive. It feels like effort. It feels like you're earning your progress. But underneath the surface, it's quietly blocking every single adaptation your body is trying to make. And once you see it, you literally cannot unsee it. Before we go any further, drop a comment and tell me where you're tuning in from. Could be your city, your state, wherever you're at in the world. I genuinely love seeing where this community comes from, and it helps me understand who I'm making this content for. All right, let's get into it. So let's set the scene, because I want you to really picture this. It's 6 in the morning, your alarm goes off, you lace up your shoes, step outside, and you start running. Not too slow, that would feel lazy. Not too fast, you've got 3 miles ahead of you and you don't want to blow up early. So you settle into this comfortable, moderate pace. A pace where you're definitely working, definitely breathing harder than normal, but you could hold a conversation if you had to. Kind of. You finish the run, you're tired. You feel like you did something. You log it in your app. 3 miles. Done. Now here's the question. What training zone were you just in? Most people don't actually know the answer to that. And that right there, that not knowing, that running by feel in this middle ground pace, is the foundation of the mistake. Because what most runners call their normal pace, or comfortable hard, is actually one of the worst places you can consistently train. It's called the gray zone, and it is the single most common reason dedicated, motivated runners plateau and never break through. Here's why the gray zone is so destructive. It's not easy. Enough for your body to fully recover and build your aerobic base. And it's not hard enough to push your cardiovascular ceiling, improve your speed, or drive any of the powerful adaptations that come from real high-intensity work. You're essentially camping out in the middle, working hard enough to accumulate fatigue, but not hard enough to actually stimulate meaningful improvement. Day after day, run after run, week after week, the gray zone quietly chips away at your potential while you wonder why nothing is changing. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to build strength, and every single day you go to the gym and lift weights that are just slightly challenging. Not easy, not genuinely hard, just kind of medium. After 6 months of that, you'd have basically the same body as when you started, because you never gave your muscles a reason to change. Running in the gray zone does the exact same thing to your cardiovascular system. It signals maintain instead of adapt. And your body is incredibly efficient. It will always do the minimum required. If you never push it past comfortable, it will never grow past comfortable. Now think honestly about your last 10 runs. How many of them landed in that medium zone? If you're like most runners I talk to, the answer is probably most of them. And that's not a failure of discipline, it's a failure of information. Nobody told you this was a problem. In fact, the culture around running often makes this feel like the responsible thing to do. Pace yourself. Don't overdo it. Stay consistent. And consistency is important, but consistency at the wrong intensity is just consistently going nowhere. All right? So now you know what the mistake is. But here's what I really want to dig into, because knowing the problem is only half of it. The other half, the part that actually transforms your running, is understanding exactly what you should be doing instead. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the solution is counterintuitive in the best possible way. The answer isn't to run harder all the time. I know that might sound like the logical fix. If medium intensity is the problem, then higher intensity must be the solution, right? Wrong. And this is where a lot of runners make the second mistake right after fixing the first one. They start pushing every run hard, grinding through high effort all the time, and within a few weeks they're injured, overtrained, or so mentally burnt out they want to quit entirely. The real solution is to stop running in the middle and start running at the extremes. This is what elite endurance athletes actually do, and it's been validated over and over again by research and real-world results. The framework is simple. Most of your runs should be genuinely, comfortably easy, easier than you think is productive. And a small portion of your runs should be genuinely hard, harder than feels comfortable. That's it. Easy and hard. Almost nothing. In between. This is called polarized training. And when you first hear it, it almost sounds too simple to be the answer to years of frustration. But bear with me, because the physiology behind it is fascinating and it explains everything. When you run easy, and I mean truly easy, where you can hold a full conversation, where your heart rate stays in a low zone, where you could almost feel guilty about how relaxed it is, your body is building what coaches call your aerobic base. You're developing a massive foundation of cardiovascular efficiency, teaching your body to use fat as fuel more effectively, building capillary density in your muscles, and improving your heart's ability to pump blood. None of this feels exciting. None of it feels like you're pushing yourself. But this is the infrastructure work. This is laying the pipes that everything else runs through. And when you run hard, I'm talking real interval work, real effort, the kind where you're at 90% of your max and holding on for dear life for 3 or 4 minutes at a stretch. You're raising the ceiling. You're forcing your cardiovascular system to expand its capacity, increasing your VO2 max, building speed, and training your body to sustain high output under pressure. The two kinds of training work together like a building and its foundation. The easy work creates the base. The hard work builds the structure on top of it. And the gray zone? It just muddies both. Here's a number that tends to blow people's minds when they first hear it. Elite endurance athletes, people who compete at the highest level on Earth, run roughly 80% of their training at genuinely easy effort. 80%. These are people running 100+ miles a week in some cases. And the vast majority of it is slow enough that they could chat casually the whole time. Then that remaining 20% is where the intensity lives. And when they go hard, they go hard. No gray zone, just easy and hard, with very little in between. Have you ever run with someone who seemed to be going slow but still beat you in a race? There's a very good chance this is exactly why. Their easy runs were building a deeper aerobic engine than yours, and their hard sessions were raising their ceiling higher. You were stuck in the middle, grinding away at gray zone miles that felt productive but weren't actually building anything. Let me tell you about someone I know. A woman who'd been running for almost 4 years, training consistently 5 days a week, and had never broken a 2-hour half marathon. She was frustrated, and honestly, she had every right to be. She was putting in serious time and effort and getting almost nothing back in return. When she described her typical week of training to me, it was almost entirely gray zone running. Every run was at a similar pace, moderate, controlled effort every single day, structured, consistent, and completely wrong for what she was trying to accomplish. She made one change, just one. She restructured her week so that 3 of her 5 runs were genuinely easy, almost embarrassingly slow, and 2 sessions were structured hard intervals. That's it. No new shoes, no special nutrition plan, no extra miles, just a complete reallocation of intensity. 8 weeks later, she ran a half marathon in 1 hour and 52 minutes. She broke through a ceiling she'd been stuck under for years in less than 2 months by actually running less hard on most days. That's not magic. That's just how the body works when you stop fighting it and start working with it. What makes this story resonate for me is that she almost didn't make the change. She told me afterward that the first 2 weeks of easy running felt deeply uncomfortable, not physically, but mentally. She felt slow. She felt like she was wasting her time. She felt like she was going backward. And that feeling is incredibly common, and it's one of the biggest reasons people never stick with this approach long enough to see the results. Going easy feels wrong to motivated people. It feels like laziness. It feels like you're not earning your progress. But that's a mental trap that our culture sets. This idea that harder always means better, that if you're not suffering, you're not growing. And in running, that mentality is specifically and measurably false. The easy runs are not a break from training. They are training. Some of the most important training you can do. What about you? Do you find it mentally hard to go easy? Does a slow run feel like a wasted run to you? Tell me in the comments because I want to hear how many people relate to this. I have a feeling this is way more common than most people admit. Okay, so let's get really practical here, because I don't want this to just be interesting. I want it to be immediately actionable for you starting this week. The first thing you need to do is figure out what easy actually feels like for your body, because for most gray zone runners, what they call easy is actually still moderate. True easy running means your heart rate stays in a low aerobic zone. For most people, that's somewhere between 60 and 70% of their maximum heart rate. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, use the talk test. You should be able to speak full sentences, complete thoughts, without any strain on your breathing. If you're speaking in clipped phrases or you have to pause to breathe mid-sentence, you're already too hard. Back it down. I know what you're thinking. That's painfully slow. And yes, at first it probably will be. If you've been running in the gray zone for months or years, your easy pace might feel shockingly slow when you actually stay in the right heart rate zone. You might feel like you're barely jogging. You might have to drop your pace by a full minute per mile or more. That initial discomfort is real, and I want to prepare you for it so you don't bail after 1 week thinking it isn't working. Here's what actually happens if you stick with it. Within about 3 to 4 weeks of genuine easy running, your pace at the same heart rate will start to improve. You'll notice you're covering more ground at the same easy effort. That's your aerobic base developing. That's the engine getting more efficient, and it keeps improving for months. Runners who commit to this process often find that what used to feel hard now feels genuinely easy, and they're running significantly faster at the same perceived effort. That's the compound interest of building the right way. Now for the hard sessions, and this is critical, you don't need many of them. 2 quality hard sessions per week is genuinely enough. These are sessions where you're doing structured intervals at a real high effort, not a tempo run where you're going comfortably hard. Because guess what? That's just the gray zone with a different name. I mean true high intensity, the kind where the last 90 seconds of each interval requires everything you've got. 4 to 6 intervals per session, 3 to 5 minutes each, with equal rest in between. Simple, brutal, and incredibly effective. The rest of your week, 3 to 4 runs, should be easy, truly easy. Build your weekly schedule around those 2 hard sessions and treat everything else as active recovery and aerobic base work. If that means running with people who are slower than you for a few months, do it. If it means leaving your ego at the door and crawling through miles at a pace that feels embarrassingly gentle, do it. Your race times will thank you later. Something worth addressing here. A lot of runners think they need to run more miles to get faster, and sometimes volume matters. But volume at the wrong intensity is just more of the same mistake. Before you add miles, fix the intensity distribution. Get the polarized structure right first. Then, as your aerobic base grows and your recovery improves, adding volume becomes genuinely productive. But trying to pile more miles onto a gray zone training week is like adding floors to a house with a bad foundation. Eventually, something breaks. There's one more layer to this that I really want to cover, because without it, the picture isn't complete. And this is the part that separates the runners who make this change and see incredible results from the ones who try it for 3 weeks and give up thinking it doesn't work. Patience. Genuine, stubborn, unconditional patience. The gray zone feels productive because it produces fatigue immediately. You finish a moderate effort run and you're tired, and tired feels like evidence of progress. Easy running doesn't produce that same immediate feedback. You finish a truly easy run and you feel fine, maybe slightly warm, not particularly challenged. And your brain says, that wasn't enough. You didn't work hard enough. What was the point? But here's what's actually happening underneath the surface of those easy runs. Things your body is building that take weeks to show up in your performance. More mitochondria in your muscle cells, meaning more energy-producing machinery, a stronger, more efficient heart that pumps more blood per beat, a richer network of capillaries delivering oxygen deeper into working muscles, better fat oxidation, meaning your body becomes a more efficient fuel-burning engine. None of this shows up immediately. None of it makes you tired today. But 4 to 6 weeks from now, it all shows up at once. And when it does, the performance jump can feel almost sudden. This is why so many runners quit this approach too early. They're 2 weeks in, their runs feel weirdly easy, they don't feel tired, and they panic. They think they're losing fitness. They go back to grinding gray zone miles because at least that makes them feel like they're working. And they never get to see what week 5 or 6 would have looked like. If you're someone who's seriously considering trying this, and I genuinely hope you are, write yourself a note right now. Put it somewhere you'll see it on the days it feels too easy. The note should say, "This is supposed to feel like this. Trust the process. Keep going." Because the moment you abandon ship because it doesn't feel hard enough is the exact moment you throw away all the progress your body was quietly building. Here's where I want to land this plane, because I think the simplest version of this lesson is the most powerful version of it. You've been working hard. You probably haven't been working smart. And the hardest thing for a motivated, disciplined person to accept is that doing less, or at least doing different, is the actual answer. It goes against everything the hustle culture of fitness has sold you. But your body doesn't care about hustle culture. Your body responds to specific signals, and if you want specific results, you have to send the right signals. Stop living in the middle. The middle is comfortable. The middle feels safe. The middle feels productive. And the middle is where progress goes to die. Run easy when you're supposed to run easy. Run hard when you're supposed to run hard. Recover fully. Repeat. That's the entire framework, and it works. It works for beginners trying to finish their first 5K, and it works for seasoned runners trying to finally crack a time goal that's been just out of reach for years. You already have the discipline. You already have the consistency. All you needed was the right direction to point that energy. Now you have it. If this video gave you a genuine shift in how you think about your training, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing, and it means everything for keeping this kind of content coming. Every week we're going deep on the stuff that actually matters for real runners. Not generic fitness advice, not recycled tips, but the real frameworks behind meaningful, lasting improvement. And if you want to go even deeper on exactly how to structure your full training week, how to schedule your hard sessions, plan your easy days, manage your recovery, and build a program that compounds over time, I made a video specifically on that. It's the natural next step from everything we covered today, and I think you'll find it just as eye-opening. It's linked on screen right now. Last thing before you go, I want to know, have you been training in the gray zone without realizing it? Looking back at your runs, does this click for you? Drop it in the comments. I read them all, and honestly, some of the best conversations on this channel happen right there. See you in the next one.